additions to the community that would be helpful on some of the items you may be experiencing. So that being said, I think I'm gonna stop talking. It's a lot of paper and a lot of information to digest at once. I think the biggest thing with this community is that we're all involved, and you can't just look at it from an isolated unit perspective. Everyone contributing into this is going to impact everyone else around us. And if you want to maintain the value, and if you go back to that slide, sales, if you want to maintain the value of what our community has and only increase that, we've got to make some changes, because realtors are coming in and giving us feedback and saying, like, not great, looking a little shabby, and we all know we don't want to be the units that are on the other side of selling barns loop. We don't want to be into that status. So I do want to make sure you guys are thinking about, this is you paying yourself. While it is paying for construction, it is really going back into your savings account by increasing and keeping and maintaining the equity, and that you are all impacting each other based off of this decision. Questions, concerns, thoughts? Nervous for that one, but sure, go ahead.
Who, me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Richard Reynolds. I'm in 3802 number 4, and I've been a resident and part of the community since it was built. I'm an original owner.
We call you OG.
Yes, yes. And I've got some real concerns about this. Number one, it's a lot of money. I think we ought to consider staggering the projects as much as we can. And I understand some of them are tied to one another, but some of them are certainly standalones. I think the board needs to work with Pineapple and any other vendors that we're working with to see if we can do a better job and have them sharpen their pencils and reduce our costs, because the costs that we're talking about, $500 or $1,000 a month, and that's just, 6 months or a year, that's a chunk of change.
I mean, I'm paying this too. I'm a part of this community, right?
Right.
So what I'm proposing and what we are proposing, we're all members of this community. We realize.
Right, and the retaining wall, as nice as it would be to make it match everything else, I don't see that as a priority. I think we can postpone or cancel that for several years, if not longer. It doesn't appear to me that it's in the process of falling down. And yeah, the stonework looks nice that we've done, but I don't know that we need to spend that money to preserve the integrity of the neighborhood. The Falcon one, $16,800 or whatever that number is. We pay them an annual fee or a monthly fee.
So that's a standard amongst, I don't wanna go like line. That is a contractual fee that we agreed upon when we bought it, when we transitioned to a new agreement. And to be quite candid, if we were to keep the old company, that would be 4x. It's a standard amongst the industry, it's a standard amongst HOA management companies. It's non-negotiable, it's based off of dollars spent.
But that's above and beyond what we're paying them?
Correct.
Okay.
Because these are above and
They're going-
beyond
they're going
day-to-day
extra work,
services.
right.
They're the GC, if you will, they're the general contractor that's going to manage this, because.
I just had to ask because it's a line item that doesn't explain itself.
So I think one of the things that I'm big on is transparency, and I think in other scenarios, this wasn't as much as transparently delivered, and I'm going to tell you line by line what you're paying for. I'm gonna be well above board. You can see the contract, it's something we very much negotiated. And one of the other things that I would say is Falcon model's pretty flexible. It's usually tranched. So you usually have a percentage based off of dollar spend over a certain amount, and and it's very tiered, and what they did was we were willing to be flexible and say like, actually, we'll just take a flat rate, that when we did these really big projects, it would be a lot less money than we would be spending if we were to keep it the way that like an industry standard agreement is happening.
Right.
So they were super willing to work with us, which I think is a really great partnership in our new HOA management company.
The final issue I have is with the bay windows and the balconies. Obviously, almost all of us have either bay windows or balconies. No?
Nope. So
Only
how
20
the
units
juice play
don't.
out is actually the units that have the bay windows, or the bay windows pay the least amount of dues.
The bay windows are in every
They're not.
single floor unit, I believe.
There's 4.
They are.
Yeah.
That's right, they're in the ones and the fours.
Yes,
Threes don't have.
every
Not threes.
single floor unit has a bay window.
True.
Every 2-bedroom, 2-story, I believe, has a balcony.
That is,
In fact, as a D unit, if I know that we're spending $6,000 as a D unit that pays the most, if I find out that we're spending $6,000 to replace people's balconies and bay windows, I'm never voting for a special assessment ever again. And if I get every D unit to vote for me, with me, every other unit can vote yes, and mathematically, it can't. Like, I'm tired of paying for stuff for common area that I don't have access
The
to.
point I'm trying to make is, the reason that our bay windows are sagging or drooping is a structural issue. It is not a matter of the.
Dick, I don't care. Like, I'm tired of it.
Well, I understand
Like,
that.
I'm tired,
Our bylaws
of
are-
paying $400 a month
Yeah.
for other people's problems. Like, I'm
It's-
tired of it.
it's-
But that's what you pay in an HOA.
I'm willing to pay $10,000 for.
It's
for
not
other
other
stuff.
people's problem, it's
Yes,
the
it
community.
is. It's not.
I think we'll pause this one, right?
Sorry,
Let's
yeah,
ask
I'm
other
sorry,
questions.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Wrestling can happen outside.
yeah,
So
they're
I
not
think let's be
included in this
productive in
assessment
our,
anyway.
let's be productive in our
Yeah.
conversation and answer.
The bay windows and
specific
the balconies have
questions.
nothing to do with this assessment.
Yeah, the bay windows and the balconies have
and
nothing to do with this assessment.
I understand they have nothing to do with this, but they should be part of this, because they're.
So then you'll see that go up 3x.
I'm sorry, let me finish. They're structural issues.
Oh, wow.
They're not the fault of the homeowner. They were design defects on the bay windows. They replaced all the supports in the bay windows initially because they started drooping.
So the
Essentially, when
purchase
they were
of the house
construct-
that you bought with an
constructed.
inspection is the fault of the HOA?
I'm saying they're structural defects. They're not related to the interior or the portion of the unit that the homeowner should be responsible for.
I think the
It's a
major word there
structural-
is homeowner.
It's a structural defect or an engineering flaw. And I can say that for a fact on the bay windows. I don't have a balcony or balconies, but I understand from other neighbors that the balconies are an issue. And it has,
I think we need to pivot this back to what we're trying to pass here in the initiatives that we're
Well,
going on, which is not a bay window or a balcony unit.
again, I can't support this
Okay,
in its current form, especially if it doesn't address the bay windows and the balconies.
but then
It
your
would be
statement
so
is back
expensive,
to,
we can't afford
how do we pay for it? And the way that we
Yeah.
pay for it is
This would be double the price.
So I would easily double your price, but then you want me to not do it at once, but then how do we pick what's the worst, and then we get into the fact of, hey, you fixed their unit with that money, I'm moving out, and now I don't get to spend this, then my equity is less, my sales price is less. We're all transitional here. What we're trying to do, not me, sorry, the board is trying to do is a uniform procedure of maintaining and keeping everything in line. What hasn't been done in the past is that, and that's why we're at the results that we're at. So I think if you change your mindset of how things are being deployed, it's very different. There's no more whack-a-mole. It's, we're all in this together or we're not.
Right.
That's the decision you guys are here to make. If you guys don't wanna make this decision, I'm not gonna be on this board redoing another special assessment like round 33. You wanna keep your equity, you don't. I understand this is painful, but if you owned a single family home, you wouldn't be able to skirt some of these things. You have leaks in your roofs, you're either gonna live in mold, or you're gonna find a way to figure out how to pay for it. And we've tried to do as much as we can, but there's 3 major initiatives that are all interrelated here. And like, I don't enjoy paying money into this. I don't think this is fun. But I don't, foresee if you tranched over 3 years, the same discussion is gonna be back to, theirs was done first, mine didn't get done, I'm selling this isn't fair. We're doing this all in as a community, and I think the vision, what needs to happen is the reframing of who we are as a community. It's not me, it's I impact you and you and you and you and you, and I hope you get the most money when you do sell. Like that's really what I hope. I hope you get crazy equity out of this.
You're protecting your investment.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
And back to her original point, just if you're trying to sell for $440 with a $300 a month HOA fee, I think that's a lot more appetizing in the market than trying to sell for $440 with a $600 a month HOA fee. So we're keeping the dues low and doing these special assessments, so if you plan on it every 3 to 5 years, you would probably be in line with every other condo and townhouse in Charlotte. If you live in Matthews, if you live in Pineville, if you live in Lake Norman, you're always, when you own a condo or townhouse, you're always gonna have special assessments, no matter where you go. You live uptown, same thing. Scott, I have a question too, I think.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Right there.
Yeah, I had a question on the repairs. This is my first meeting, so sorry if there's a little bit of catching up. On the roof, the coating, how long is that supposed to last? And I guess, is there warranty or anything that?
there is,
on
so
it?
there's, sorry, in the specifics, and I'm not like the subject matter expert on this one, but it does significantly extend the life of the roof, and you'll see like a very big change on how it holds up against all of the weather. We honestly did contemplate changing. One of the interesting facts that Amanda brought up to us is like, they're no longer insuring roofs over 10 years old now, commercially, which is kind of a crazy stat. And so if you think about what we're up against and how we can maintain the integrity of the building, like it does significantly change it, and honestly, it came from somebody within the community that suggested like looking at it, to help us. The exact years, it's in the deck, exactly what we're gonna use.
Okay.
It's a special paint. It's a very special coating, thick paint that they have to do at a certain time of year, and it does preserve it.
And do we have to keep reapplying this thing, or is it just?
It's not like every year, but there is a maintenance
Like
program,
10
so.
years?
We definitely did it about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
So one of the things that like we're trying to build here also as our community, like changing the structure a little bit, is doing stuff on a more consistent basis than just like that whack-a-mole method, right? So one of the, like since you're new here, just to rewind a little bit, but 3 years ago, we did a massive overhaul on trees. And we had so many trees that were causing so many problems, if I got one more phone call about the water, I was gonna lose it. So I think everyone here is also tired of losing their water. So we went through and did a special assessment and cleaned up all of the trees. It's now an annual maintenance where the tree guy comes out, he inspects it, we make recommendations, we have watch lists, like we have a very much a programmatic deployment of how to manage this so that we're not spending $80,000 chopping up trees again. Like I don't wanna pay for that again. I think we can pay it over time and do stuff in a manageable method. So there's some tailoring that we've done on like how to spend money.
Second question, on the siding, did we do a comparison on like hardy board or any other material outside of the cedar?
Yeah, we did. And so that was part of like keeping the same uniformity of what's going on here, and it's much more expensive, like significantly.
Okay.
I mean, I was honestly pro siding because I just don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
And we can just power wash stuff and sounds great. But the community feedback was that we keep what we have right now, so we went down that path.
Second, Scott?
And then Scott,
So, two questions and one statement. The statement, obviously, it's important that, you know, we're all in this together, and us spending money, to maintain our investment is important, I think. And obviously, everybody gets a vote, but I think that's very important. And it's unfortunate that we haven't done it to date, because now we're gonna be paying more. So, I'm in favor wholeheartedly of that. And one question, so two questions, if you don't mind. But the first one, did we look at replacing the roof too? Because I remember talking to the folks at Pineapple.
Millions.
Huh?
Millions.
$2 million.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
Was it 2 million or
Yeah.
1.6 million?
1.6. I think it's 1.6. I think it's
Okay.
1.6. Yeah.
And that's a sad number.
So I'm trying to sell $500,000 right now, and just replacing roofs would be 1.6.
Yeah. Because I did have a conversation with them. Obviously, you know, a new metal roof that would be similar, a little bit better gauge. You can get a 40-year warranty where, you know, we wouldn't pay anymore, but, you know, okay. So we did look at that, 1.6 versus.
I'm selling 1/3 of that.
Yeah. The second question, so, and I respect Adam's, you know, comments about what he said, you know, from his position. I have a very, very opposite position about the balconies and the bay windows. Those are spread around the community, and they're the community's responsibility per the guidelines. So my question is, if we vote yes, are we voting on anything to change those bylaws or have that?
I need 90% on that, so if I could change the bylaws, I would. Not enough people attend, and like make it a more structured, uniform way into present day. Like how our community is actually assessed is as a condo. That would be as if you lived in one building and you all had the same. That's actually not true, right? We don't all have the same, which is a benefit to living here and has individuality, but it's a con when you push down the bylaws and all of the things that are happening. So the counter argument, and we've gone back and forth with lawyers, we've gone down all of this path, like how do we pass this in the bylaws? 90%, that will never happen. It's a strike of lightning. The best way is fiduciary responsibility and making equitable decisions that are in uniform to the best interest of the entire community and their benefits. That being the pool, that being maintenance, that being parking lots, all that stuff. To counter that, I actually don't get the benefit of, or the resale value of your bay window, or of your, I'm just saying me, because I don't have it, but of your doors. So that is actually not equitable and not uniform. Now, while multiple units may have it, it's not spread across the whole thing. If everyone had a bay unit, we would have a different discussion. And so the thought process on how do we make this equitable is, as Adam said, the unit that pays the most dues actually gets none of that benefit, and the years that it would take you to pay off that amount are taking away from all of the actual shared community items that we can be spending the money on. So if you think about it from a different lens, even if you are one of those units, if you thought about it from a different perspective, if you bumped your dues up $100 a month, every year that's going up 3%. But I'm paying for George over here to get his window fixed, but my lawn care or the pool or whatever other parking lot situations are not getting done. That's the reason. You know, we only have a limited amount that you see the budget every year. That's it. That's the monies. So think about it from how you would actually allocate those monies, and it's not very much money.
So to be clear, we're not
This is not a
changing-
bylaws meeting.
It's just
Just
we're voting on an
special
assessment and how to spend that money, and not include that in that is any of the balconies and
Correct.
windows. Okay, those are my two questions, thank you.
All right, Elizabeth?
So I have a balcony, and I don't know, I've been here for 1,000 years too, and I would like to create the association to pay for it, but that doesn't change the fact that we need this done, right? So my question is, that's my statement. My question is, like, how soon after these votes are counted would you start? Like, how soon would work start? Or is it spread out over years?
I mean, I'm ready to rock and roll. I wanted to be done with this. I started this conversation in
Yeah.
November.
Already?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all lined up and they're waiting and they have capacity and time. So we would be rolling this out ASAP, and we can say 30 days, like, this is a discussion, an open forum, like, I couldn't commit to a date, 'cause I don't know the votes. But if I were to highlight this, I would say, like, let's fast forward, payment plan start May 1st, and we start going. Materials we bought, labor will be on site, we've already scoped out their capacity, so.
And how long will we know after the vote whether it passed or not?
Amanda will stay back and count them, and then she'll email
Today?
everyone out, yeah.
Oh,
We do it
I may not
instantaneously.
email tonight when I get.
Oh, you're not.
No.
Tomorrow, I'll see
Yeah,
that.
she'll-
Can we add that as a requirement for Amanda to send it out?
Only if you come home and take care of the.
Hey, your
kids, I have-
dues will go up if she's on demand.
And I'll stay up and count all your votes and email you.
She'll do that, Elizabeth, you can use your charm to, work with Jake.
That's OT
Work with
time,
Jake a
too.
little bit.
I will.
How long is this
That'll be in the
one?
morning.
Yeah, how long is the
How
whole
long
project
is
gonna
this?
take? Yeah.
It's variable based on wood rot, because we really sometimes, we don't know what we're getting into.
Yeah, some of
And
this is
weather.
like,
And weather.
and weather, so,
So the roofs can't be done if it's over a certain
Right.
temperature, you remember that from
Yeah.
the last time? Or if there's rain within 24 hours, I believe. And then the same with the painting, you know, that has to be done, it, you know, it can't be done in the middle of summer.
And are they gonna start, like, last time we did this, they started in 3,800, and when they got to my building, which is all the way in the back, they said, we ran out of wood.
well, that's not an option.
That's what they're doing again, Melissa.
They're gonna start at 3,700.
I honestly, we
Go
don't,
for it.
well, that's what we pay Amanda to do on this project management, to inform you of when your building will be started on, when it's happening, what to expect, what to plan for parking, be annoyed if you work from home. You know, all the complaints that
No,
Kim
I'm
will
kidding,
receive.
I'm kidding.
But truly, that's why we pay a project management, in addition, cause this is well and above and beyond, I mean, this is big stuff that we're pushing through.
Quick follow-up question, are they gonna scrub some of the roofs before
Yes.
they?
It's all power wash, all
It's all power
clean.
wash, okay.
We're
And
going,
they change out the
there's
roof,
no.
they change out the screws. and
Yeah, we're not
stuff like that.
shortcutting stuff, so
Okay.
if things are popped, like, it's also one of those things, we don't know what we don't know yet, right? So we're putting out estimates. We did quotes, and I think one of the comments was, how do you know it won't cost more money? We don't. That's the blunt truth, we don't. We have a 40-year-old community, we don't know. What we put together is our best assessment, and if we have to come back, I hope we don't, we put a conservative assessment on this, but this is all the information that we have at this time.
One other thing on the roofs, we didn't list on here, they are gonna check the flashing around the chimneys. So I know that was a concern, I guess, the last meeting, they're gonna reseal it, if need be. So that's another thing, that'll stop those roof leaks that we've been having. I think there was what, about $2,000 spent on that last year, maybe more. So,
Sure. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, so.
It's, no.
Nom?
Just on the wood stuff again, what are we assuming that, how much of the wood needs to be replaced if we're throwing?
So every building is very different based off of, location, sun, water, and then in addition to what's already been replaced. So one building, like we spec'd out a few buildings throughout this process, and we've been doing this wasn't done in like a week. Like, we've had multiple site visits, we are trying to say like, run worst case scenario, run best case scenario, where are we at? And so I can't pick out, like, I couldn't even tell you on my building, I would say the bottom 2 to 3 boards on every building has gotta go, right? So that's like step 1. And then as it relates to like the true, when you start to get into some height, it depends if it's been replaced, like some of the stuff we saw had been replaced over time, like sort of the one-off scenario. I personally know, like, I've had woodpeckers, they've done some significant damage. Looking forward to seeing those boards gone. So I think I can't answer the question, I'm not trying to dodge it, it's just like, every building is so different based off of where it sits.
Just like as an aggregate, is that like assuming like 20% of the wood, of all the wood in the building? Like,
I have to go back to my math and, the quote, I can't remember like the detailed quote of like, we spec'd a building and we just used that building to apply it as a conservative ratio.
Okay.
Greg, do you recall? When we walked down that steps?
Yeah, it's more, we definitely leaned on some conservative positions because like construction is wild. And so we wanted to make sure that like, I don't have to have this conversation Yeah.
Would it be helpful to, write down which preference we have for the payment plan, or?
It's indifferent. I'm indifferent on it.
I'm
It's-
saying like right now.
Oh,
Is
no,
it-
it's
okay.
basically, we're giving up to 12 months. So in a perfect world, I would love some of you all to just cash front us, and just write one big check, but if you wanna spread it over 12 months, you can. If you wanna spread it over 6 months, the payment plan is a little bit variable. It's just maxed out at 12.
But you don't need to know preference on this paper?
No. And Falcon One will deploy that whole program, you'll set it all up,
Okay.
tell them what they are. They have a form for you to fill out, based off of what payment plan you want. Yeah.
Will Pineapple guarantee the paint job?
Yes.
And the
Yes.
reason I ask is 6 months after we were painted the last time, it started.
So we've got 2 years on labor, and then on the, so at least a 2-year if they need to call back. I also think based off of I don't know former situation and what happened, so I can't comment there, but based on the conversations we've had, like, and his willingness to work with us to spread it over 12, even though the project might be done in, let's say, 6 months, right? That's probably thoughts of grandeur, but I'm gonna hope. I think that there's no way, like, how big of a project we are and where we are and all that's in, like, I don't think there's gonna be this sort of lack of service or lack of follow through. But it's also why we're like moving to a structure of knowing exactly one vendor, not 50 vendors to do one thing, like, as the statement goes, one throat to choke.
But there'll be a written guarantee.
Yeah, yeah, so we haven't signed anything, obviously.
Yeah.
No authority to do so.
They are using, a better quality paint, but the last time it was all prepped, they did a poor job prepping, and within 6 months, like you said, it was peeling right off. So there is a special paint for the cedar, because cedar still, has oil in it, and I think the last company did use the right paint.
I think it was Pineapple, wasn't
That's
it?
what I was gonna ask, is it the same company?
So
That
we're
kind
definitely
of
all
makes me
over the
worried.
paints and we've seen it. We've had a few communities that they've, done, which Amanda can send out if you guys wanna go drive by and see the work. Like, we did a site visits, like, we all did our own independent research. Multiple quotes, at least a rule of 3.
Okay, I was just worried when he said they did a poor prep job, so if it's the same company,
Yeah.
I was just worried about that.
Yeah,
I think
that worries me.
we also have, quite frankly, a much better management company that knows the standards that last company was a free-for-all, to be honest.
Liz, I was wondering about the cash flows on this. How long before when do you want to start payment for these? Assume it gets approved.
So I ideally would like to have this deployed in 30 days, so your first payment would be May 1st.
Okay, so then what does Pineapple need? They need, you got 35,000 for them?
So we will be replacing our reserves based off of a cash flow model. So what we have in the bank for, let's call it emergency, and we just hope from a timing perspective, nothing really hits the fan. So we will be flowing back into our reserve account, that we allocate, I think, 10% every year.
Yeah, is that gonna be an issue if anybody's selling the property?
I think we'll look at it, like, one of the things that we asked Pineapple is if we did extend over 12 months, would you be willing to work with us on certain aspects?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that, like, through the last experience, a lot of people just cash fronted and wrote a check and walked away. That's super helpful. Wanna sell that, please do that. And so I think, like, we don't know until we pass this and see what's happening, and then the conversations that we can have with Pineapple to say, like, hey, we'll get it to you next month, like, we got all of this cash based off of dues and when they're done. It's kind of ambiguous. I mean, the model's there, but, like, I can't confirm until it's fully executed and see what everyone does.
Will a copy of the contract be available for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, we can make that visible for sure.
Okay.
Or not signing anything that we don't
I'm sure y'all will do
approve
this,
to
but,
sign.
the other thing, in the past, when we had these assessments, we got a loan. And I'm knowing that, you know, rates where they are, I'm sure that a loan is not what you can do in order to not mess with the reserves.
So based off of the experience of the last one, and we did do a loan, and the HOA adjusted the interest payment on that. The loans were the loan rate for a condo, for an HOA is so outrageous
Yeah.
that you would be better off more than likely borrowing against your credit card than if we were to get this loan and drive all of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
through.
yeah. I'm in
So-
the lending business, I know that.
Yeah.
I wanted to put that out there. It's
Thank,
not
thank
an
you, I
option.
didn't pull that out, so we did look at that, we did scope it out, and also, one of the other parts of it is we actually wouldn't be able to get this size of a loan based off of what we collect in our special assessment, so we are capped at an amount, which was, I think, a little more than, I think we were at like 75% of what we took last time. So even so, it wouldn't put a dent in like what we would do, you'd have 2 payment paths, like, it's chaotic and unnecessarily complicated. But yeah, you'd be better off taking a loan against your credit card.
So Carolyn and I are completely in support of doing this, we support it. But what I'm curious about is even if it passes and you get a significant amount of homeowners that vote no, and you have people that either are just unable to afford to do this or unwilling to do it, and you have a significant shortfall of money, apart from what you have to do legally in order to enforce payment, what will you do if you wind up with a significant shortfall of money? What are you gonna do at that point on the project?
Great question. So the legal aspect of the way that works is, and I'll speak for how we handle, dues on this front. So we are willing to work with people on dues to a degree because we understand life happens. And we've demonstrated that over the past 4 years, 5 years since I've been on the board. One of the things that we've done is like, we've set up a payment plan, we've, in addition to some of your things, to pull back the amount you owe. And as long as you're making progress, significant progress on it and staying to what we've outlined, the legal aspect is way more painful for us because nobody wants to be kicked out to that process. Once we do that, our hands are free, and you have a lien on your home, which is not great for reselling. And you have to make sure it's fiduciary out of our hands. So we still get paid by you paying through the lawyer. If we're massive shortfall, which would be incredibly disappointing from this community, but I didn't even explore that path because I really thought we were, by the amount of volume of tickets and the status that we're at, like I thought we would be pretty much mostly on board. Didn't explore it.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
It goes to legal afterwards, and what happens there is a whole other level, so.
Yeah, I understand.
And we're gonna have 30%.
Yeah.
That I totally know all about.
You know, the fear is that we're gonna have 30% of the doors with liens on them.
Mhm.
And, then we're gonna have to come back to the drawing board.
That's scary.
And that would be scary, and it could very well happen.
And especially because I'm thinking of paying it all up front, so I just want, if I do that, I wanna know that.
Has that been the
worst
case,
is done.
where that many people say they can't pay or something?
It's just a stab in the
Okay.
dark.
It's always worked
Okay.
so far.
And it has to work, and if it doesn't, that's part of it, like, again, we're all in this together, we each own a share or whatever, a unit. So if the community votes for it to move forward, to maintain our own property and replace our roof, right?
So we worked with a few homeowners from the last one, for sure, where it wasn't exactly as dialed in as we want, but we did give an absolute drop dead date that you can't go much farther past. So for example, if we're gonna use 12/31 as our deadline, just for demonstrative sake, we gave maybe like an extra 60 days, but with significant notice that says like, you're pushing us to our last results, which is kicking you to legal. I believe statistically, we only had one account that did not meet, and this is all public, you can research this, so I'm not saying.
When we did the huge assessment like 10 years ago, when we did all painting the roofs and something like that, we only had like one unit.
One
that was
unit who
behind
failed on
one.
this last one,
It was
so,
just straggling on for about
Good.
6 months, so we were able to pay for everything we need to pay for.
so thanks for making me bring
So
that
that's,
up.
yeah, that's what that.
And then, to be fair to them, right, the way the system works, we all wanna move forward
Yeah.
with maintaining our
Yeah.
property, so you would enforce that lien, and if they can't pay you, then.
We don't enforce, that's legal. We're not touching that.
Right, legal does. But then they would have to sell their property and they would get whatever equity at that point, and a new owner would come in, and theoretically, the new owner can
Would have to pay.
afford the assessments.
Yeah, it's
to-
part of the
to-
negotiation.
To continue getting a new roof or whatever.
And I would just do a little away from that, just for some perspective. Let's just say all our units sold for $400,000. That's $30 million, of what the retail sales price is for our community. And divide the assessment into that, it's 2%. So if you think about us investing 2% in from the last, well, I realize we've had assessment in between, but from a painting assessment, painting the roofs, that was 10 years ago. And you see the values of the homes, not 10 years ago, but from 4 years ago, it's a lot more than 2%.
Adam, I needed that stat before.
That showed the whole slide out.
So you put, so I understand it's a lot of money, and I get it, and it's a lot of money over a short period of time, relatively short period of time, but if you think about when we talk about the HOA as a community and investing for ourselves, and when we invest in ourselves, it helps us out, when our neighbor invests in their community, it helps us out, us individually, and then we realize, oh, it's 2% that we're investing into the value, current retail value of the entire community. The math starts to, I get it, when you go to write a check, it hurts, but the math starts to make a little bit of sense when I say that.
I was gonna say, if I owned a house since the very beginning, like,
I know,
or I would just sell.
I missed my opportunity.
I have a potentially more lighthearted question.
Wonderful,
The
we'll
paint-
close it out on
Yes,
this.
we'll have a
paint
picnic.
colors.
That was my question,
Are
too.
we doing the same colors? Are we gonna have a choice in what colors we're doing?
So we will look at, we haven't done that exercise yet. It'll be still a neutralized color scheme. It'll be a little bit more, up to date in terms of like that, but nothing, I'm not gonna paint your house blue.
Oh, right.
It's not gonna be that marsh house on the left, you know, where they. It's that blueberry house. So we'll still stay with like the neutral patterns, like you are not going to pick out your house color, right? Like we're not getting into that. That sounds like a 3-year-old birthday party. So we'll stick with the same scheme we've got now. It's gonna be very neutral, but we'll give a little bit of dimension so that like we can have where you live.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, I'm the lighter one or a little bit darker. It's not gonna be anything crazy.
And 10 years ago, we did it, we like kind of stuck with the way that they were built in the late 80s, so again, approaching that 40-year mark. We stayed to those same sort of color palettes in each building, so I don't think any of the buildings have really changed. Elizabeth, Sally, you guys.
Are you asking old people?
Because you guys have been around a long time. I don't think the colors have really changed in a long time, which.
We'll still keep with a very, very neutral, universal thing.
I think it's lavender.
Yeah, I was hoping
That's part of it. That's part. We didn't isolate every little component of this, but like I have one that's half hung right now. So we did, like, it's true. Any sort of wind will take another little slap off. So we will incorporate like some of that aspect if they are one-off, but I wasn't gonna put this into like.
So the shutters are kind of like with the wood rod.
Yeah, it's all in like, all encompassing, and we've honestly over time replaced quite a few, so I think it will be lesser than what we were thinking.
I have a question about the balconies and the, not
Elizabeth, what are you doing to me?
No, this is a good question. If somebody wants to pay Pineapple to do, are you, first of all, are we painting the balconies and bay windows as they are now? They're included in everything, right?
Yes.
But if someone's.
No, we're just gonna leave them out.
Why
They
is
leave
that?
dry homes.
Like the wood.
But, so if somebody does wanna schedule something, like, can we work, how are we gonna?
So that's part of the slide where we've already worked with Pineapple to say, like, you have to contract directly with them. So my recommendation is when this passes by all of you voting, yes, thank you. Can't wait to get started. Once you do that, and we put out, you know, how everything's going, when your building is potentially scheduled, all of that stuff, you'll get the contact information for Greg, but it's your own SOW, your own contract, your own everything. I don't wanna hear a single peep about what went on. because you're scoping this with them and it's not through the HOA.
Well, I'm just talking about timing. If I
Yeah, so
hire
I would
that-
recommend, like, that Greg's willing to, Pineapple's willing to, like, do other work for us while you're on site. Now the scope of that, you have to work out with Greg, but we did forecast with him the windows and the doors.
Yes, another question, how do we know if our balcony or bay window is structurally unsafe?
You could walk by my neighbor Laura's, and see.
Okay, what unit are you?
We're in 371.
Thank you.
A what?
level.
Yes?
Level on the window, and if it's off, then it's not.
Is there any other questions, guys?
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
of the
Thank
work
you.
that you've
Thank
done.
you so much.
Thank you.